everybody. My name's Diana and I am the Wandering Sewist, and this is Friday Sews on a Sunday. I'm sorry that I couldn't get it out on Friday, but as I'll explain later when we get to life, there were some circumstances. So first of all, I want to thank Jen from Today in Jen's Sewing Room for starting this hashtag Friday Sews. It's a little bit about sewing and a little bit about life. So first of all, let's talk about what I'm wearing today. I am wearing the Sewing Emporium's Every Day's a Weekend dress. I made out of this wonderful ITY that I just love this dress. I give it 2 thumbs up. I would definitely recommend making the Every Day is a Weekend dress. It's from a knit, and I enjoy wearing it very much. So I'm going to insert some footage of me wearing it right now. Okay, so as you can see, one of the best things about this dress is the pockets. You've got to love pockets. So I highly recommend the Every Day's a Weekend dress from not Sewing Emporium, Pattern Emporium. It's a Aussie pattern company. Highly recommend. So what am I working on right now? I'm working on the Sew Over It Ruby skirt in this really pretty brown base polyester with some flowers on it, which I really love. And what I've done so far is I have cut it out, of course, and I have made the pockets. They're right here. Sew them on. I have the button placket ready to have the buttonholes. And I've sewn some gathering stitches into the top so that I will be able to gather it. And the next step is to join the side seams of the 2 front pieces to the back. I'm on step number 9. Right here, where you join the 2 side pieces to the back. Then you put on the waistband before you gather up the front, and then you put on a waistband. My phone's ringing, just a second. I'll be back. Okay, sorry about that. That was my husband. He's off with the boys in the woods and they got lost. You know, we're in a brand new country. We're in the Czech Republic and they're out exploring right now, and they weren't sure exactly of the address of where we live, so I had to send that to them so they can use GPS to figure out how to get back home. One of the joys of constantly moving around the world, that's why I call myself the Wandering Sewist, because we're always exploring, learning, wandering around. So I was talking about the ruby skirt from Sew Over It. So I'm really excited about this fabric. I think this fabric is just beautiful. And as you can see, it's right in my color zone. I'm in autumn. So I have quite a few tops that will match with this. And I would think of this as more of a casual look. So I'd probably wear it with a t-shirt in one of these colors. You know, one of the things I wasn't aware of when I first started sewing it is how much you can see through it. I don't know if you can see that. You can see my hand. Yeah, you can see my hand through the fabric. So I didn't think of lining it. I still may not. I have time to make that decision, and I can always whip up a lining later on and just stitch it to the waist on the inside if I feel like I need to, or I can just wear a slip. I have lots of those. So I'm not too concerned about it. So I released a video excuse me, sorry. I released a video last week with the Marni that I had made, the Marni dress that I had made from the sunflower fabric. And I got some really good input about the way it looks on me, and I agree with everything everyone said. I wasn't comfortable with the way it was looking on me because it looked like a nightgown, number one. And number two, it made me look a lot heavier than I am. And I didn't like that look. So I think what I'm going to do is I am going to cut it off into a top and wear it as a top with some jeans or something. Excuse me, I have a tickle in my throat. I will be back. Hi, I'm back. Sorry about that. I had to go get a drink of water. Okay, so I was talking about the Marni dress that I had made last week. And it's got a lot of problems. I'm just going to cut it off and make it into a shirt. So I'm going to do that at some point. You may have noticed that I always say I'm going to alter something, and I may not get around to it. Altering is not my favorite thing to do, and I'm not super experienced at it. But when it comes to just shortening that Marni dress, I think if I just take the pattern pieces, the front and the back, and lay it over, and then just mark where they stop, then I think it will be relatively simple. So I am currently sewing at my dining room table. I'm not in my sewing room right now because all of my household goods have not come yet. So I have some tables in there that will come probably in a couple weeks. So here, me and my Bernina, we're sitting at the dining room table. There's the china hutch there. This is my back garden back here. Give you a little peek. There's my back garden. There's the trampoline. So you can get a little peek of what the area where I'm living looks like. I can't give too much detail because my husband's job and things like that were supposed to be safe. So I don't want to give too much detail, but yeah. So there we go. That's pretty much all the sewing. Oh, you notice that I'm not making the ruby skirt out of that blue fabric because it's a linen. Now I'm gonna go get it and show it to you. Just one sec. Okay, so I'm back. So here is that blue linen fabric that when I first bought it in Africa, I thought it was a denim. And it's not, it's linen. You can tell because it's very crinkled. So, and some people suggested that I make a shirt out of this. Now, I'm an autumn, and blues are not necessarily great colors for my coloring. As you can see, not always great. Although, as I look on camera, it's actually not bad. I'm surprised. I thought that as an autumn, I couldn't wear blue. I guess it's certain colors of blue I can. What do you think? Do you think I should make a shirt out of this? And if I should make a shirt out of this, what pattern do you think I should make? Shirts? Ooh, what about the Donnie shirt? I've seen a lot of other YouTubers making the Donnie shirt. I don't remember what pattern company it's from, but this would make a very cute Donnie shirt. I've seen other sewists make it out of linen, and it seems really very nice the way it drapes and falls. I think it would do well to hide my mom tum. So the other thing I have brought with me before my household good comes that I thought I could work on. Let me just grab it. Well, some of it anyway. So my beginning of my sewing life was as a quilter. So I didn't start making garments until recently, and I'll talk about that in a later video about why I switched. So my mother, when I was a child, she sewed all our clothes when I was younger. And she saved the scraps, and then she would just sew them together in random patterns and make squares out of them. So so I have all these squares, tons of them, that she made ages ago when I was a kid. And she would randomly throw scraps together. And then when she passed them on to me, they were not nice and square like this. They were all different shapes and sizes. So, and then she gave me a big bag of more scraps of the same scraps from the same clothes. So what I did is I cut the big ones down and increased the smaller ones, pressed them all out, and then stitch the edges so that they're all 10.5-inch squares. And I probably have 50 or 60 of them, probably enough to make 2 quilts, 3 if they're small, and they're not all the same weight of fabric. So it's just literally just crazy quilt squares. So I had bought this cotton to do some sashing. So I was going to sash between each square. So I'm going to sew onto the edge, like one side, a strip on one side of each square, and then join them into rows, and then sew a long strip on the one side or both sides of each row, so that when I sew them all together, it'll have a strip of the white between each square, and then a border around all the edges of the white. And then I can use pretty much any binding that I could possibly want, or I could play with the sizes of more borders, and and then I thought that I would play around with different quilting methods. If I make more than one, I thought I could use a really heavy, really high loft batting for one of them, and then just tie it with some really nice quality either yarn or embroidery floss of some kind of thick thread. And I could just tie that one. And then I could do some other sort of, I saw a video about big stitch quilting. And that's hand quilting, but you use a very heavyweight thread or the full strand of embroidery floss, where you can separate it into strands, but you don't have to. You use the full strand of the embroidery floss, and you do big stitches in whatever design you want to or whatever. And I thought maybe I could do one like that, or do an all over free motion quilting pattern. But yeah, I have huge stack of these squares, and this isn't even all of them. Here, I'm going to make them into a stack so you can see. So that's not even all of them. I didn't even grab them all to show you. So yeah, it's going to be a fun project. It's going to be time consuming, and I'm not in a rush, It's something that I can just work on whenever. But first I need to wash and press out this fabric and start cutting it into strips. And that's fine. I have the rotary cutter and the cutting mat, and that's something that I could work on over lots of time. All right, so life. Now I'm going to talk about something that I did not want to talk about on this channel. I wanted this channel to stay a great place, a place of retreat and positivity, but you need to know, I mean, if I'm going to do Friday Sews, stuff about my life. So you may not be aware that 1 year ago, my 18-year-old daughter was taken from her car, and she was assaulted, and then her life was taken away. They caught the guy, and so he's been in jail since March 2022. And last Sunday, on August the 6th, he ended his own life in jail while he was awaiting trial. So this last week has been a very emotional, difficult week for me, because I had thought that things were going to go one way, that, you know, I was going to travel back to Nevada to go to the trial next summer, and there would be justice served for my beautiful daughter. And now there will be no trial. There will be no guilty verdict. There'll be no... So it's been a very emotional, difficult week for me. And that's how come I didn't do a video on Friday. I got very caught up in some emotional stuff, and it was a really difficult few days. So I apologize for not keeping up my word that I promised last week, but I'm sure you can understand in light of those sorts of circumstances that I'm dealing with a lot, and sometimes it gets the best of me, you know? So that's the major thing that's going on in my life. The other thing I wanted to talk about, and I'm going to leave the negative stuff, sad stuff aside, and I'm going to go to something a little more interesting about life in Prague. So on Facebook, there are all kinds of expat groups for people living in Prague that are from other countries. So I joined one called Expat Women in Prague. And I posted that I was interested in a sewing group if there were some. And I got some messages that people had in the past wanted a sewing group, but it never came to fruition because nobody took charge and tried to start one. So I said, well, why don't I create a group chat and we can talk about a sewing group for anybody who's interested. So I got a huge response. So I created a group chat on Facebook Messenger. And then a lot of people said that they'd be interested in sewing socials and or workshops. A lot of people said, several of the ladies said that they were interested in learning to sew, that they were complete newbies. And it was a little bit of an overwhelming response. So I said, well, what if we had a Get Acquainted Sewing social this month of August? It's just to get together, have coffee, a little cake, and just get to know each other and talk about sewing. So the response was huge. A lot of people said yes. So the 20th of this month, which is next Sunday, a week from today, I'm going to have an unknown number of expat ladies over to my new home here in Prague, and we're going to have coffee and tea, and we're going to have socials time to talk about sewing. Now, then they want me to do some sort of workshop. And so since I'm really good at making like zipper pouches and little boxy bags and stuff like that, I thought, well, I would offer like a sew with me kind of a day where we could make little boxy bags or little makeup bags or something like that. I got really good at making those a couple of years ago during the COVID lockdown when I made feminine hygiene kits for charity while I was living in Africa, and I donated them to the church. And so women who had no opportunity to work, or young women who needed to go to school but couldn't because of the time of the month, I made 50 kits, and they each had 16 reusable, washable feminine hygiene pads, 8 heavy days ones and 8 light days ones, and then they had a bag to carry them with or to store them in, and then a small waterproof bag that they could put the used ones in and put them in their handbag or a pocket, so that they could be discreet and not worry about getting things all over everything else. I'm sure you understand what I'm trying to say. So I made so many of those that inserting zippers and things in zipper pouches and stuff I'm really good at it now. So I thought about offering a workshop in something like that. What do you think? Do you think that I should? Even though I'm not a professional sewing teacher, I am a teacher, but I'm a teacher of mathematics. So do you think I should offer this workshop to these ladies that want to learn how to sew? I'm a little bit nervous about that, and about possibly charging. I don't know. I'm nervous because I'm not a professional. I'm not a professional sewer. I'm not a professional sewing teacher. I would consider myself an intermediate sewist, or, the lower level of intermediate. I can make most of the things that I have on my list. If I don't know how to do something, I look it up on YouTube, just like you do. I don't know. I'm a little nervous about that. What do you think? Comment below. Let me know in the comments if you think I should do that. And let me know in the comments what you think about my ruby skirt that I'm pretty excited about. And also, let me know in the comments what pattern I should use to make a shirt from this denim-like blue linen. Or maybe I should... No, I don't want to make... See, making my husband something makes me nervous because, yeah, I'm not going to do that. So maybe the Donnie shirt or some other shirt, like with a collar. Yeah, so let me know in the comments. If you're not a subscriber, please consider subscribing. It would help my channel. Like my video, share my video. And that's all from me today. I'm sorry about it being 2 days late, but I hope you can bear with me and follow me on my sewing journey as I wander around the world, trying desperately to source my materials from whatever country I'm in. And then next week, I'm going to go in search of buttons. So I'm going to take you along with me and film some of my journey searching for buttons that will go with this ruby skirt, because it's going to have buttons all the way down this button placket. So come with me next week and we'll go looking for buttons. All right, have a great sewing week. I hope you have plenty of sewing time wherever you are in the world, and the weather is as beautiful where you are as it is here. Have a great day. Bye.